And yes, people, welcome to another episode of the Boiler Room. And like I say, every week we get better with fun. You know what I mean? We getting better with age. It come like we is fun wine. But you don't know, people, we have to bring in one of the legends in Barbados, Rastafarian. But yo, Adrian, give me a talk, brother.
What happening, people?
Yeah, we another week, boy. We survive another week.
Another one?
Yeah, another one and another one.
Wow.
Yeah, it coming together good.
Strength,
I like it.
Strength to strength.
Yeah, for real.
And that's why I think that is great that we have the guest that we have here tonight.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, this man is bringing some strength.
Yeah.
Right? We have Ras Simba Rock in the house. And for those of you all who don't know, he is representing the Afrikan Heritage Foundation. The Afrikan Heritage Foundation recently came to public notoriety because of the case of the Rasta family.
Yeah, the Rasta family from up in the Pine side.
Yeah, from the Pine Basin.
Yeah,
you know, the child care board was trying to take their children away because they weren't sending them to school. Simba and the Afrikan Heritage Foundation stepped up to help to represent this family. And from what I can tell, were instrumental in the family winning both the criminal case and the civil case. The custody case.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to put the father in jail and they were trying to take the children away from the family. Correct, Simba?
Yeah, well, the mother and father was charged with the criminal charge. So if there was any jail, it would be both of them.
So both parents were in danger of being sent to jail.
Yeah, penalized for the thing there.
Right. So if you could take us through how the Afrikan Heritage Foundation came to be involved in this particular case.
Well, first I've seen everybody say good night first to all the viewers.
Yeah, blessings.
And I want to give thanks to BAJAN, FARI and my brethren, ADRIAN, for having me on the show. Having us on the show, actually, because representing the Afrikan Heritage Foundation. In terms of how we got involved with that particular case, it was in the papers before that this couple had gotten charged. They were found guilty, actually, of failing to send their children to school without proper permission from the Ministry of Education. A sister from the community, the Rastafari community, this is, called me and asked me if I knew about the case. To tell you the truth, I don't really buy newspapers, so to speak. So I really didn't know what was happening. So I went out and I got the papers, and I saw it. And I read about the case. And then I was on Facebook doing my work. And someone was saying, they had the online article. And a comment was saying, where's the Rastafari community? How come nobody helping, And as a Rasta man in the community, I felt really bad. That's the truth. You know what I mean? That comment hit me hard. You know what I mean? So I decided to call a brethren who was in a Rastafari organization and ask if he knew about the case. He said he didn't. I called a sister that in the Rastafari community. You have people in the community that know everything about everybody, right? So I called the Rastafari hotline. Right.
Rastafari do have a hotline.
Yeah, we have a Rastafari hotline. Rastafari hotline.
That's a good thing to go.
It's a good thing. I'm not making sport of you. What I mean?
It's serious.
Because when you want to know about
it, when Rasta said them is something is an order.
Right?
Yeah.
And the person told me, well, I'm not sure, but this is the area. And I went looking. Right? That was the Tuesday. Can't remember the date, but in the week I know it was a Tuesday. How I know? Because the next day was the big storm. What was the last time we had? Matthew or something else?
I can't remember. Matthew?
Matthew. Right, so it was the date before Matthew. So I went looking for this family, I heard I was in the around the Pine Basin area.
Yeah.
And I went down there and I couldn't find this family. Knowing Rastas, I telling myself, well, maybe, if it's a case that they're not sending children to school, again, a mental idea of the type of races that they have. Because, Rastafari is spread out. We have many different,
Different.
So I saying that probably these people living in isolation, in a more isolated spot, But I couldn't find them nevertheless. The next day, Matthew came, and they were supposed to go to court for the sentencing of the guilty thing. They not with it. But because of Matthew, the court had to shut down.
All right.
So they couldn't go to court, right? I couldn't go anywhere. So the Thursday, no. I decided to go looking again, and I found them the Thursday, right? And I had on the same shirt, right? And in talking to the father, you know, he was explaining, I introduced myself, who I was, you know, and he was telling me his position. He wasn't really looking for any help because he was of the position that within his spiritual stance that he would be delivered, right? And he had left it up into the hands of Jah.
Yeah.
That's what he said, you know.
Yeah.
If it came to a case that the children was going to be taken away, so be it. If they had to face jail, so be it. If, you know, he had just literally left everything up to, you know, up to the Almighty.
Yeah.
So in his eyes, the Almighty sent a storm, shut down the courts, right? And then after that, send help, right? So when he saw me coming, he didn't know it wasn't just me because I was coming with the Afrikan Heritage Foundation, but he was just seeing me. Anyhow, in talking to him, then the son came and the daughter and the mother came because they weren't there. And I know, you know, part of the reports was that the children weren't being educated, right? But I had also heard that they had read part of the Constitution. And I know things can be rehearsed, you know, so I wasn't convinced in myself,
That there was,
you know. So I asked the little boy to read this shirt. And he read it off like, you know, like no hesitation.
How old is the little boy?
He was what, 12? He's 12? Yeah, 11, 12? I think he's 12, right?
He's 12 now.
He's 12 now, presently, you know. And then his father sent for more reading material, part of the Constitution, and he was reading. So what he
actually
decided
the video that they had on Facebook.
So I
sat
took the
down and
video.
watched that, yeah.
So I took this video and I brought it home the night and I put it on Facebook.
That video went
Yeah,
viral.
that video
That
went
is
viral.
the video
That spread
that
out.
spread everywhere.
Everybody was. I can remember. Look,
I mean-
it was not telling you, but it was after that video. It was not a Rasta thing anymore. You know, it was everybody across the board was speaking about this video. I can tell you because I have people that share. People was like, I remember that video. About 20 or 30 people actually tagged me in that one video. I mean, I would go into my thing. I was like, yo, this video. So I sit down now when I actually watch it. I was like, whoa, they say that this youngster in educated.
That's
like,
the whole thing.
yo,
The public had a preconceived
But
idea.
you know, I understand that video was really what really set the issue alight and
Yeah,
got
a lot of
really
people
fired
started
up.
come out, yeah.
But I remember even before that video came out, when the story first broke, I for one was very surprised at the number of people who were supporting the family. Because you know in Barbados there's a stigma still towards Rastafari.
Yeah.
And BAJANs can be very conservative.
Yeah, it's
Even
true.
before that video broke, I was pleasantly surprised by the support the family was getting though.
Well, as I say, I didn't know about the story before, so I can't speak to, you know, the kind of support it was getting. But I heard I was reading the mixed comments on Facebook.
Right.
Some, you know,
For
about for and some against.
yeah.
And it wasn't really based around Rasta, it was based on homeschooling.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what this has brought is that the public is basically very ignorant to homeschooling and what is homeschooling and what homeschooling offers and what it can offer. You know, because I've been in other spaces, you know, speaking about homeschooling, I've heard an elder man say, but homeschooling, you don't know what they're teaching. Next thing you know, we got terrorists, they're teaching them terrorism, and you know what I mean? You got
What?
cells. Yes, and this was in a senior parliament, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You trying to say a minister?
No, minister. This is senior parliament, right? So this was at UE.
This is like a mock parliament.
Oh,
This was a
okay.
mock parliament.
So-
Right? And people was talking about the issue came up. Hamila was the chair, what do you call it?
Hamilton Lashley.
Yeah,
Hamilton
was
Lashley.
the speaker.
Yeah, he was, I think he was acting as Speaker of the
Acting
House.
as speaker, you know, and so they had all these different people. So these are the kind of comments, you know, and these were from the elder people.
Lack of knowledge is breed
Right.
ignorance.
Exactly. You know. So what happened now? After the video, you know, the night I went to sleep, I realized that the likes going up, you know, and the share is going up. So the next morning I got up and I said, well, let me check this thing. When I see like about 900 and something shares, I was like, what? You know?
I tell you, it
and
blew
the
up.
comments and yes, I mean, all over, because you know, I posting this thing on LinkedIn, I posting this thing everywhere they could, you know?
Yeah, right.
And thing. So I called a meeting for the Monday. That was the Thursday. The Friday I organized a meeting with the Afrikan Heritage Foundation to have what the people call a town hall meeting in Israel level. That was the Monday.
Okay.
That was well attended. That had a lot of people, you know, the family came. And that brought a lot of attention. From there, lawyers offered their services. You know, we didn't even have to look for anybody. People just came out of the woodworks, you know, to offer their support.
So there was no they had to give lawyers the money or anything like that.
Nobody has charged a cent for any of their contributions to what has been done. we formed an educational committee out of the charity, the African Heritage Foundation is a charity. Adrian ain't telling you, but he's a member.
I know,
right?
you know what my budget.
I know you know.
Yeah. A lot of people out there don't know about how you know.
Card carrier member of the African Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, right. And he was also instrumental in helping form what we call the educational committee, the core, because we had to build a curriculum to meet the qualifications of the child care board. Not the child care board, sorry, the Ministry of Education. Okay. Because remember they saying that application wasn't
right, yeah, filed. I remember hearing something like
but
that.
But the fact of the matter was that the family had written a letter stating why they want to homeschool, you know, and this, but as you know, it was just a letter written by Rastaman, you know, right. So that wasn't accepted as, you know, but there was not there was not any sort of, in my estimation, there was not a lot of strong mediation between the Ministry of Education and the family. But I must say, when I met with the Ministry of Education, they told me that they had reached out to the same Rastafari organization I told you that I called and asked about if they knew about the case, and they said no. But the Deputy Chief Education Officer told me that they had reached out about 2 years ago to the organization, and I know it to be factual because she knew the name of the organization. And the organization said that they could not help. So
they went to the Rastafari organization to ask
to help to be a mediator.
Mediator between the family
and the ministry.
And the Rastafari organization, you saying to them, no?
They said they couldn't help. Because remember when I asked the same organization, so I am saying right here that 3 entities are responsible for what has happened. And those the Ministry of Education, the Child Care Board one, and partially the Rastafari community.
Because I think when they were going to court...
And I'm being very honest, you know what I mean, as a Rasta man in the community who works in the community. Yeah. Right? Our community is lacking. I say so without apology.
In togetherness.
You know what I mean? In togetherness. You know what I mean? We chant unity. Haile Selassie talked about centralize and organize, and we fail to do this thing. You know what I mean? On a daily basis.
Every man feel that he's strong. He back strong
Every
enough.
Every man's identity self-and, you know what I mean?
He's stronger than the next man.
We ain't looking at the teachings of His Majesty. We ain't looking at the teachings of Garvey. We ain't looking at none of the people that we hold in the highest esteems.
Right.
You know what I mean? To bring solutions.
It's strictly self.
You know, self. Yeah. So the African Heritage Foundation is not a Rastafari organization, as you can see. Yeah. Right? And I will tell you, I get cursed on Facebook for
by
doing
Rastafari?
By Rastafari, saying that I only trying to push the organization, I only just and that and the thing. You know what I mean?
The same organization that know when I helped.
Yes, but it was doing the
through the same system that Rastafari know to be corrupted.
I am telling you.
But as far as my understanding of Rastafari growing up, it was always a togetherness thing. You know, you like, for instance, you go in the temple yard.
That's a long time thing.
You understand? And you sure, man, you guys are Rasta man and say, yo, brother, I want something to eat, man, cooking, it was never a problem. And them kind of things. You trying to tell me all this changed now?
That is not the education of Rastafari, and especially the new, what I call the new generation of Rastas coming forward. As you say, when you was coming up, which means that was the time when Rastas was few one. When every Rasta man was a Rasta man. When you see locks, it was a Rasta. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Nowadays you got all dreads.
Every time you hail, you know there was a time that you couldn't pass a Rasta man or a Rasta woman on the street without hailing. You know what I mean? Because there was so few. Yeah. You know what I mean? That you felt so good to see another one. You know what I mean? So that kind of unity and love has been lost.
So a lot of people you see him in the Natties, Panella, and the ice gold and green tam and the badges. Then it really get down to it. You see the big, Rasta heart.
You see me? For me, as a Rasta man, one of the biggest downfalls of the Rastafari community, and this is not what I come on the show to talk about, but is the whole one love concept, which has brought in everything into Rastafari. So everybody loves to sing reggae music, everybody sing. Even the same case, right? Yeah. We have a GoFundMe campaign, which I want to talk about. Yeah. Right? And I tell myself, you know what? This is a Rastafari family. I am on about 6 or 7 Facebook groups, Rastafari groups, that are having thousands of Rastas and people. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be supporting Rastafari. And I have shared this campaign and the story of this Rastafari internationally, and you could go on the campaign now, pull it up. Not one person. The campaign was done by a lady from Somalia who lives in Utah that saw the case.
And there's Utah in America.
Salt Lake City in America.
In America.
She started the GoFundMe campaign.
She started the GoFundMe campaign.
All right, so we want, just you know, we want so the GoFundMe is still active?
The GoFundMe active.
Or, and the name?
Is, you will see the Afrikan Heritage Foundation. You type in that and GoFundMe. The campaign will come up, $250.
So go to GoFundMe and type in Afrikan Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, the aim is to raise 20,000 US, you know. So you will see 20K is the thing. And you will see that over a month, and we've only raised $250.
What is the 20,000 US for?
The $20,000 is to help the foundation with the homeschool service, so we could help more families like the family, you know. So we need machinery. We have teachers, you know.
All right, so let's back up a little bit so we stay clear. So the Afrikan Heritage Foundation, you've made clear, is not a Rastafari organization. What is it then?
It is an organization made up of persons who believe that the society can go forward and be healed through the use of African culture and our heritage as a foundation for our healing. So we have Baptists, we have people that are not really affiliated to anything, we have Rastas in it, you know. So it doesn't exclude anybody. Once you have an interest in the development primarily of the Barbadian society, right, and you think that, or you see, or you believe, or you know that this should be done through, at least for the African descended part of the society. I ain't talking about the Chinese and the Syrians and the Europeans. I'm talking about African descended people. And if you understand that our culture and our heritage is crucial to our present existence and our future existence, then the Afrikan Heritage Foundation is the space that you're welcome in.
And the foundation is involved in what project right now?
Well, the main project is the project of building a home school service. We like to call it a home-directed learning service. This is a service where we would roster teachers to homes, the parents who wish to homeschool the children. Seeing that we have gone through the process with the Child Care Board and have gotten the permission for these two children, we are building a relationship with the Child Care Board so we can assist parents who want to go through that process.
Tell me about that relationship with the Child Care Board, because you know, that was a testy situation between them and the family at one point.
Well, it was a testy situation, but we met, myself, Leah Clark, who is another member of the foundation, and the lawyer, Ajamu, had met with the Child Care Board. And I said it was at that meeting that I realized that the Child Care Board had reached out. Not the Child Care Board. I mean, you asked me the Child Care Board.
You said that you built a relationship with the Child Care Board.
The Ministry of Education.
You meant the Ministry of Education.
Yeah, sorry, I keep mentioning it. It's the Ministry of Education.
All right.
It's the ministry that reached out to the Rastafari group and that said that, you know, so in case I got that wrong before, it's the Ministry of Education. The Child Care Board is a whole different story.
Okay.
I want to deal with them separately.
No problem.
Right? But the Ministry of Education, when we went to that meeting, it was the fact that they had reached out. Because my strong point was like, I went in like, but you know, in a case like that, you should seek out Rastas as a thing, you know.
You went in with some fire.
I went in with a lot of fire, you know, a lot of fire.
Rastas drawing enough fire. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know,
right?
I know, because, for real.
You know, I was of the strong opinion that the ball was in my court, you know what I mean? And we had the winning hand, you know. And I was about to play this hand, the best I knew how to play this hand. You know, but when she had the perfect counter of, she had reached out already years ago, and 2 years ago, the Rastafari organization, and the fact that she knew the name,
so
right, I think made me understand you.
That it all set them out as a Rasta, and you see certain things move that you know that and that's the thing. You know, I remember a while ago. A policeman was like, they reached out to me and they was like, yo, please watch your videos. But the men don't like the fact that you was called on Babylon, and I had to give them an explanation as to why. I said like, yo, it's not pertaining to police officers, it's part of the system that is Babylonian. Yes. You understand? But out of respect for the police, you know, a man tell me, oh, you're a Rasta, you're supposed to ban fire upon police. So these people sitting down watching me and gave me advice on how to care about myself, and the right way they tell me stop. like, cause you know me as a man is getting from people and saying that they never get say like, oh, you real disrespectful or anything. They just say like, yo, we feel that yo thing, but I explain myself to them. And it come like, it was a difference with a Rasta man. The man, yo, you supposed to ban fire upon police. The man can't about the police. You was like, brother, I trying to build bridges here. You don't build bridges by burning them down the same time you're building them, but big man.
You've built a bridge with the Ministry of Education.
Yeah. So I tell you, so from that conversation, the conversation started to change, right? She told us what we needed to do, right? We did it, you know. Eventually, we got the permission, written permission, right? And so much so, she said that there's another family in Gazette who has applied to homeschool. They haven't heard them and want to know if we could intervene.
So now the ministry.
So now they put it on you,
right.
on actually on
we
you.
We don't
know.
want to let it go to the court and things.
Right.
We both agree. You know what I mean?
This is another Rasta family.
You know what I mean? This is another Rasta family. You know, but the service, as I said, is for everyone.
Right.
So the more we develop the service, and when it's done, we could take it to the ministry and say, well, this is the full service we want to offer. So people that would like to homeschool, or you're having problems, if you could refer them. So that is the relationship that we're building. You know, and I see that the chief deputy officer, education officer, she has been very accommodating. She's been very open, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that in this instance, I can truly say that the Ministry of Education, because after they realized that we were going to do what we said we were going to do, because we have an affidavit in the court saying that we're going to help the foundation, signed by myself. We have an affidavit in court saying legally we're going to
assist the family
with the education of the children, right? So once that was done, the Ministry of Education kind of was like, okay, we feel okay.
All right, let me ask you a question now. If the family has been doing such a good job of educating the children all along, why do they need the African Heritage Foundation to step in and assist with the education?
The African Heritage Foundation, what we also did, right, in all this that was going on, nobody has spoken about an assessment of the children. Where were the children in their academic development at the time of all this was going on?
According to age and
all
stuff
them
like
know that the children wasn't in school.
Yeah.
And thing. Again, the foundation got somebody to do an assessment on the children. Now, this person doing the assessment has also done assessments for the Ministry of Education. So there's a professional we're talking about.
And there's somebody person within the African.
Yes, I mean, no, she's not in the foundation, but she's a friend of somebody that's in the foundation. So that's how we work. You know, this is the network.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
everybody knows somebody. Yes, I
Right,
mean,
right, sure.
So she did an assessment of the two children, right? And what she said, of course, there were some deficiencies, but she also noted that they did a lot better in the assessment than a lot of children that were in school and their age. And what she said to the mother and the father, whatever you were doing, keep it up.
Whoa.
Right? So what the foundation is really doing, because I sat and we sat together, you know, and the father, he has really put all trust in me, you know what I mean, as the person coming that just send, you know what I mean, after the
storm, and then you blowing.
And I can't question his faith. Who can question his faith at this kind of time and seeing the results, you know what I mean? And I think most of us don't have that kind of faith, brother. I can't even tell you that I have that kind of faith.
Really, because some people would die and give up already.
He do like the man in the scriptures, what name? Abraham, that put the son to slaughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was willing. You be willing to lose your children to take that risk? You be willing to lose your children to take that risk?
He is a very interesting individual.
More interesting than that,
very
brother?
Interesting, because I was at the meeting that Simba was talking about. And when Ajuja Safani spoke, the place was silent. And he outlined his reasons for not wanting to send his children to school.
And
he also talked about how he is willing to go down for his beliefs, and he could not. He said he could not swear the children have a choice. The children have their own choice, but he believed that they were willing to go down for what they believe as well. You could tell us a little bit about his reasons for not wanting to send his children to school.
Well, his primary reason for not wanting to send the children was the environment, the school environment.
Okay.
Right? He has no problem with being educated. Some of the curriculum was problematic, right? The
environment. The
environment was the main issue, right? He was concerned about the amount of immorality in the schools, the sexuality, the bullying, right? I'm gonna say, right, but that too.
I get you. That too.
Yeah,
Right, and plus when you look at it, also not can you, but also with the incident happened. I think about I was back 4 years, no, about 4 years ago, with the children having sex in the school, and it ended up in the newspaper. And then people vexing me because they say, yo, it shouldn't be in the newspaper, the children. Or the children, you're supposed to show them up. For two, these are children that we supposed to be educating. Why we demeaning them just to prove a point? When we supposed to be educating them. We's grown up, so we sit down and watch adults and blue movies, having sex and doing all kind of things. These is children, they ain't supposed to see that. Your mother see I remember you growing up, your mother see any sexual act on the TV, say, yo, turn off that here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can talk to your man and tell him about these kind of things.
But now is that, and he also had the experience of, I think the children must have went to school a day to try it. And another child tried to force chicken in the, anything. So all those sort of things, you understand what I mean? And people may say, my mother little things, but these are things that people convicted in the faith, and we have to respect these things. Then we have a situation that most of the teachers or the people teaching, that's another point. Most of the people teaching are of a Christian kind of background. That kind of European Christianity, and it is brought out, you know what I mean, in the schools. Even though you may say, well, the child don't have to go to prayers or this, but the Christian teacher is saying, well, you ain't going to prayers, so she's treating you different in the class.
Yeah, but
and they feel it, so all these things were concerning to Ijuija, in terms of development, especially the moral and spiritual development. Because he was actually, or he is more concerned about the moral and spiritual development of his children than the actually academic. They have their own language, They speak their own language. That they even have a dog that the dog is understanding the language.
Wait. You telling me
they have developed their own language? I'm telling you, yes. And they communicate with.
You think Ijuija will come in here? He's a very interesting individual.
Yeah, I can't say yes. We can speak to him and think. I know he's always willing to share.
Yeah.
But you have to be ready for.
It's like something that is not out there on TV and on the internet that you can find. He's a different.
You ever heard about a theory called flat Earth? You know about flat Earth? When you go on YouTube or anything on Google,
because a lot of people here
is a theory that the Earth is not round.
I
heard
about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, but the dome and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Now without watching YouTube and this thing, this is a similar theory that Ijuija has. He's a man that can tell you that the original Egypt was in the Indian region, and he's going to give you how he comes by that through the Bible, because he's a tall in the Bible, This man is going to astound you. That's what I mean, when he starts to speak, right? And the fact that I was there getting cold bumps and I hear cold with the air condition, that he was able, you see that whole thing with the storm and everything and how it came.
How it come and then how you appear on it day after the storm. Whoa, like
he normal.
You know when this is told.
He's normal, but he's a different kind of normal.
He's a different kind of normal. And if you see where he lives, you know what I mean? He has a structured building that he calls the Ark. Lee would know. This is a mighty. How many stories, Lee? About 5? I mean, like this thing is a mighty space that he's building
it, but he served or he got construct on a what?
On a cliff face. Yeah, he's been there for years, about 12 years, I think. Yeah, actually down in the Pine Basin there is one of the locations where we want to start the physical aspect of what we call BASE, which is the Barbados Alkebulan Academy for Social Development, and that is the name of our educational program. So we want to have a physical academy later on, and that's one of the areas.
So you actually want to start a school?
Yes.
Basically.
But we're starting with the home school service.
Right.
Because there are a lot of parents, even since this case, there are a lot of parents who have been calling the foundation, want to know when we can start, even wanting to register up to yesterday. But most of these children are children that are finding it very hard in the public schools for one reason or another.
I can also show you something that a lot of people don't realize. You ever hear people talking about the so-called private schools and how good the academically is being developed and stuff like that there? So you starting this school now, it's kind of like one of the private schools, but it's just Rastafari.
Let me show you something.
Is it Rastafari?
No.
It's for everybody. Anybody that would want.
Everybody.
Also, it's not just for Rastafari.
Nah.
They want to hear it.
What will happen is that Rastafari can find a comfortable space
In that,
there.
yeah, right, in that academy.
Any
yeah.
Pan-African holistically want to develop person or parent can find a space there in that thing. So it is not about Rastafari.
Well, the Rasta school don't got me. Okay.
We're fighting very hard, you know what I mean, to get away from that. It is very hard because I'm the president of the foundation and I'm a Rasta.
Yeah.
You know, so
right, once the headline is a Rasta, you know they get all my soul got to be a Rasta foundation.
But the vice president of the foundation is a Baptist minister, Reverend Odain Jackman of the Mount Pisgah Baptist Church.
But I don't jump me right there, big man, because a Baptist minister?
A Baptist minister.
He will insight into how he get in the foundation. Rasta is the leader, a Baptist minister is the second in command in this. So how that come about?
It came about because before the foundation, before the foundation, I used to do this magazine called Our Afrikan Heritage.
Yeah, you was actually, yeah. You don't do that, man, because you don't get no more.
No, actually, we just do it through the website.
Okay. Because you used to do it on Facebook and then you would share it on Facebook. I remember you used to get subscribe to it, when it was in New York and also when it was here.
So, out of the magazine, I started to do a festival called Sankofa because I was arguing
about Sankofa.
That we had no authentic Afrocentric festivals in Barbados. You know, we could argue that point as we're going along. Yeah. But that was my thinking. So Sankofa was born out of that in 2011.
That's the one that was supposed to host when I moved back to Barbados, right?
I think that was the international layer of recognition for people of African descent. That was the year they had given that.
Decade.
No, that wasn't the decade. That was the year. They had the year before the decade. I think the decade started in 2014.
Okay.
The decade started the year that the foundation was born. Because the foundation coming out of the magazine and the work of the magazine.
Okay.
Right. So I was telling I was developing.
So he was trying to. You were explaining how the Baptist minister and the Rasta man get together.
So one of the things out of the magazine was a panel discussion on reparations.
Yeah.
Right, and he was there. You know, in my inviting people on Facebook, it caught him. You know, and his wife, mainly his wife. You know, I know once they catch the wife, the husband gonna come along.
Yeah. You
right.
know,
So they came. You know. And they heard what was going on in the panel discussion on reparations. It was called Enough is Enough. Reparations are focused on self-repair. Because I'm very big on self-repair.
Right.
When people hear reparations, they're talking about,
somebody giving you money.
That
ain't really my, you know what I mean?
But is that 4
acres and a mule?
4 acres and a mule,
right? Yeah. You know, so that ain't really my kind of idea. I think we're in a position that we should be helping ourselves much more in terms of our reparations and our self-repair. Right. From there now some Rastas get up and the Baptist people come and talk and the Jesus Christ thing come in, the Rastas get up and burn Jesus Christ and but after that they called me, Reverend Odain and the Bishop Marlon Jones, they called me to have a meeting. And they said that they liked what I was doing, and they saw where this could go, but they was concerned about the fireburn Jesus thing, and you know what I mean. So I had to tell them that I hail His Majesty, right? I let His Majesty for a lot, and this is Haile Selassie first. So for a lot of my solutions, he and Marcus Garvey, not in the sense of a praying.
Right.
I don't really pray per se. But His Majesty has come and done a lot of work and said a lot of things. And some of the things that I hold dear to me, at least one of them, which I told them, was that he said that your spirituality is personal, but affairs of the state are for all. And I am here to deal with affairs of the state. So I ain't here to tell a man he got to pray at 2 o'clock. I ain't here to tell a man he got to wear. I never tell a man he got to wear locks.
Right.
I never tell a man he got to be in a Rasta. Not me. As a Rasta, I could tell you about me.
And what you stand for?
I stand for.
Yeah, right, real thing. That's real respect, Rasta, for real thing.
But I can't tell you, you know what I mean? Because
Bob Marley, every man got
the right to choose his own destiny.
All right, the real thing.
So that is the real thing. And after that conversation, you know, they were convinced that, you know what I mean, this is something you know.
That they could pursue.
And because I knew of the perception of me being the head, and at that time the foundation didn't have that many members, you know, and he was the person suited, right? And then have the ADRIAN them yet, and you know what I mean, or things. So he was the person suited to soften the image, to show you diversity. Right. So I would go to the Baptist church and he would call me to talk, you know, and the first time I talked, I was like, well, you know, this is something to see a Rasta man stand up in a Baptist church. You know what I mean? And
so you was actually speaking to the congregation?
Yeah, I have been to his car and he's invited me up to talk, and you know what I mean? And I feel really pleased. I would go to his church. I plan to go Sunday. They have a Thanksgiving. They have a market day on Saturday in the Greens. Yeah. The foundation will be there doing our thing, you know. Yeah. Okay. I'm part of I go to some of his planning meetings. I'm always invited. We have one tomorrow. So I help with the planning. We assist, you know.
And this is for the church?
This is the church thing, their week of activities. Part of the
and you see, ain't a label, like, you won't get label, like, yo, that we smoke at there, we want you about the hand on it, because it's a consistent thing you keep doing, so
everybody know that I smoke.
Listen, I'm telling you, man.
Everybody know that I smoke weed, you know what I mean? That's nothing, you know what I mean? But my work stands above my weed.
When this story broke with the Rasta family, I took note of the response of the Barbadian public, and it was not what Bajans have come a long way in their view of Rastafari.
Like, for me as a Rasta, like, I remember going places and you will hear people telling me, FARI, come in. Like, you sure? You sure you can come here? I remember when I went to everything I had told you when I went to the consulate, the Barbados consulate in New York, and you know I was outside sitting on the chair waiting like everybody else, and one of the ladies got on holler, BAJAN FARI, hi, like, hi, how you doing? So she went back, she come back, and like 2 women come back, and like, oh, hi, BAJAN FARI, come. I was like, I like, okay, here. Like, no, come on by the door. So I was like, by the door, there's the consulate. Like, these people supposed to be like, you know what I mean? The people that Barbados put there to oversee their matters overseas. I was like, okay, so I went to the door, they buzzed me. And I said, I was in there speaking to all the ladies that was working there, and the gentleman that was working there. And it was like, I stand up saying, I wonder if these, you know something about these people, they ain't judgmental. And a lot of people ain't judgmental about Rastafari anymore, even though we still got them. Yeah, but you can't keep binding yourself up, man. You know, they don't like Rastas.
Exactly, we have to move.
Step past that and move, and then you can see a whole different thing. Because there's got places that, yo, I stand up already at places and I be like, damn, they ain't got a Rastafari here, boy, but everybody walk up and shake my hand. I tell people about certain people I meet, and then my brother and them will be like, "Cha, boy, never even meet here yet, big man." I'm like, "Yeah, he cool, man." Like, then people don't see you for Rastafari. They see your work.
You know, the society is slowly changing the thinking when it comes to Rasta. And I think what is also happening too, because of all the dreads and thing. You know, from the early time, the popes, or we used to call the popes.
Yeah, Pope.
The popes used to know more about Rasta than Rastas.
So, yeah, Lord, yeah.
You know, Rastas don't do this, Rastas don't do that. You know what I mean? Right. And that mentality is still there, you know, because there's no, you know,
who is a Rasta,
the original, and who is not, you know. So you would find that, and they base Rastafari on the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what they could see.
But that's how you're supposed to judge a man, though, right?
That's how you're supposed to judge a man. And that's
you know
what
I mean? Like Chronic say, I don't know what you do in a curtain, but when you see what you actually physically doing up there, that ain't even how big man. That look right to me, like, check yourself around me.
So,
you know what I mean?
and that goes across the board, not even just for Rasta. That attitude should be
given
to everybody.
Yeah.
So let me get back to the words then. Barbados supposedly has one of the best education systems in the world. Why would anybody in Barbados want to homeschool?
Yeah, the best educational system, but when you say that, you have to put that in context. Education, again, well, not again, what we were talking before, education is a tool. I see it as a tool, right? What is this tool accomplishing? right? When I was small, and even now, your parents used to say, go to school, learn good, get a good job.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? The educational system we have now is perfect for that.
Not according to the employers. The employers are saying that the children are not coming out ready for the world of work.
Well, when I'm saying it is perfect for that, it is suited and it is geared towards that.
Okay.
Whether it is happening or not, it is there, right? My estimation of education, right, is like that quote. I'm not good at remembering who said the quote, but there's a quote that goes, the first duty of a man is to think for himself. Your first education should be education of self. When you're a baby, what does your mother teach you? This is your eyes, this is your nose. She starts to educate you about yourself. First thing, right? A people that have come and have been robbed, and these things are factual, of their culture, of their history, of their heritage, basically of their pride. The first thing that these people need to do is be educated about themselves. Now, if I ask myself, let's say from free education with Barrow, right, which to me was a noose.
A noose?
A noose.
Free education was a noose?
Yeah, free education is a noose, right? And again, I have to put that in context.
You must.
Right? So I'm saying now that if I have an educational system, and the people that coming out of the educational system, I'm talking about right now, you know, because there was a time that the average Barbadian, I would say you ask 80% of black Barbadians if they're African or if they're African descendant, they'll tell you no. They want to have no sort of affiliation for that.
We're African.
So this is what this education system was producing. I like to say, in the beginning, we had the slave ships bringing the Africans across. The slave ship has been replaced now by the education system. Get what I'm saying?
Right, so mental
right? Because remember, slavery, the advent of slavery was an economic venture, you know.
Right, to benefit other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, real thing. It's true.
Right? Marcus Garvey said, we have become a race of consumers.
It's true.
Right? So which means other people are the producers.
We paying them to produce. I mean?
So my parents and my foreparents telling me to go to school and get a good job to work for somebody
that
who is the producers that pay me.
Not that you can come out and do something.
Nah. So if I am going to say, like for me, if people ask me about me and tell me, who is Simba? I say, but look, I is a slave, I like to run away. I is that man. I still see myself as a slave.
Can't hold the one.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I may be thinking by running and fighting. Right? Because I say that black people are still in possession of slavery. You own a little car, you own a little house, you got a little job. Who make the car? Who making the house? Who make the most of the clothes? We thinking who is back? You go on a man.
Manchester United,
you know what I mean? Yeah. We suck into this football thing, like, you know what I mean? Like if we's owners, like if we's...
I like the game. I like the game and the game I played.
What would happen if the kind of energy we gave to football, we gave to our own development?
To road tennis?
Even to road tennis. Good point. Suppose we gave that energy to road tennis. Suppose we gave that energy to our educational development. Suppose we gave that energy to our history and our culture. What would happen?
Black people are just strong people, but they don't know the strength. That's how I see it.
That is the reality of it.
No, I want to address saying here, as you were speaking just now, and you're talking about the slaves and stuff, last night, it just so happened I stumbled on something on the internet. No, this is America. This for one in America. They got a dummy, a real jackass by the name of Ben Carson, that somehow this jackass, idiot boxy, think that immigrants or slaves was immigrants. Idiot. You hear what the Rastaman now say? Learn little sense. Continue point, Ras Simba. I just had to address that part. That part they burned me from last night. Give me gas.
Yeah, but this Ben Carson thing.
Idiot.
I ain't too sure what he's
big man, a raw donkey.
I'm not Ben Carson fan, but in all fairness to the man,
I don't know.
I came across the controversy this morning. I read
you
it.
Saw it.
He explained himself in that they're voluntary immigrants and they're involuntary immigrants, and
Involuntary immigrants.
How you think you don't fix that problem?
Involuntary immigrants.
Wait, let me ask, did you see the video?
No,
But you want to see the video. How this? So how we can explain that?
So
There's no reason.
Kidnapping is involuntary.
Yeah, you was an immigrant. You go and kidnap
kidnapping
some
would be
immigrants. Come here and got the body here in
involuntary
America.
immigration.
But he reasoned that he still was still getting paid.
He did?
Yes.
That's what you're trying to do.
Does he reason?
Anybody don't know about it, just go online and look for Ben Carrison's speech at HUD. I lost. I don't even know Donald Trump. Then again, too, when you got a carriage to pull like America, you need a lot of jackasses because you can't really get horses. And the main jackass up front is Trump. So if you think a jackass can pick a horse to make he look bad, nah, he can keep everybody as jackasses and lower grade jackasses.
But as you were saying, education. Ben Carson is a very well educated man.
He's a brain surgeon.
Neurosurgeon.
A neurosurgeon, actually.
I like to call them educated dummies. You ever hear that?
Perfect name.
You ever hear that quote that say, never let your schooling get in the way of your education?
Yeah.
Right? So going forward, what I'm saying is that if slavery was an economic venture, right? And right now, 90% of things that are produced and that are used by the African descended people are not produced by the African descended people. We in Barbados live in a perfectly apartheid system. When I say so, when you look at it, only black people is what I call menial labor, right? Tourist industry, that's our number one thing, right? Tourist industry.
Yeah.
How many hotels owned by black people? Maybe about 5, 6.
I really don't have numbers to tell
I
you.
ain't got the numbers, I ain't got the facts.
I ain't got the numbers needed, but I know that in majority.
You mean in Barbados?
In Barbados.
In Barbados? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you may not know how many black people own hotels. But answer me, how many white people have you seen as maids and gardeners and things in these hotels?
I didn't work in the hotel industry. I actually never saw that. I never see that.
How many white police
But
do we have?
Barbados is 90-something, 98% black or something like that. So statistically speaking, you wouldn't expect to see enough of them.
Yeah, but you will see enough of them own businesses, though.
But you know what I mean? But we have enough of them in certain areas. We see enough of them.
Right. So,
You know what I
on
mean?
the other hand, no.
So in things that
big
are not
businesses,
menial
they're
labor.
Yeah,
overrepresented
exactly.
statistically speaking.
Yeah.
Agriculture for the black man, you know what I mean, is a poor man thing.
But a lot of black
What
people
you
own plantations, too.
But for the white man, agriculture is big business.
Yeah,
This is
so
what
you
I'm
got
saying.
plant, but you know, a mama got kitchen garden.
So you may have.
versus a mama
I'm not saying that you
plantation.
don't have any black people who have not made it in agriculture, you know.
Yeah.
But right now,
Mentally.
the average you ain't going. I have a sister, right? Rastafari sister. Her son is at Queen's College. She got a lot of land. She come up working land. Working land has gotten them most of the things that they have. And you know what he telling his mother? But, mommy, you ain't sending me Queen's College for me to come and dig up the body ground.
The body ground, yeah. And that's the same thing that enabled him to go to Queen's College.
But you know what he is saying? He is still seeing his mother struggling. You know what I mean? Has enabled them, yes, through a struggle.
But
So we can't. So in the eyes of the youth, agriculture is nothing to glory in. You know, it is nothing. You know what I mean?
Benefits of it.
But when you say so, the parents, they have not taken their agriculture to another level to leave. You know what I mean? So we remain at the forking thing, and you know what I mean? We remain at the hard work level. So why sending my child to school to learn the things that the doctors and the lawyers and all these people is doing?
Well, you know,
to have them come down
some people may say, but you are a very strange Rasta man, because they would argue that ain't Rasta supposed to ban fire upon technology and Babylon's machinery and that kind of thing?
I ain't telling you that I agree with you, right? I say in the reality of the situation, right? And let's come back to the education, because of the Rastafari community, although, okay, the homeschooling is for everyone. But just stay the Rastafari community. Let's just deal with Rastafari for now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rastafari, we have certain principles. At first, we didn't want the children to go to school. Right? So we get brutalized for that. Enough Rastas in the early time get brutalized for not sending children.
It's true.
Then we decide, okay, we can send the children to school. Then they didn't want the children in school. It was all kind of problems with the hair.
Yeah, right, with the hair, you got to send home with a, send to school with a time
right?
and all kind of things, yeah.
But now, we could relatively have a safe space, or who want to just, even my child, in that space.
Your daughter
My
is in the
daughter
public school system?
In private school.
Your daughter's in private school?
Furthermore, private school, mostly white. In St. Winifred's, my daughter goes to school at St. Winifred's. She can go to CXC.
St. Winifred's, that's the one up there by Purity?
No, that is up behind government.
Behind government house.
Government house.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, but I think we are green and white.
Right,
yeah, right.
Bare white people. Like I tell you, the experience that she has had. And she is there because my mother has taught at that school for over 40 years.
What?
And she's my only child, And when my relationship broke down, because she was in a public school, right? I wasn't really mentally in a space to handle the education. My queen wasn't in that space either. So my mother took the rein, and she said, I want my granddaughter where I am, and I would take it. And that's how she ended up at St. Winifred's.
Okay, I mean, and the thing about it is, if you're up there in the evening and see the children leaving, they can tell you.
But I'm going to show you, right? Because I'm glad you talk on that point. Because before, we was talking about what has come out of the public school and the private school, and I'm saying that it is very similar. But what happens in the private school that I see, the parents invest much more time with the children. Because they have the time to invest.
Yes.
I remember my mother, because remember these rich people children,
Yeah, right.
Right? My mother, when they're teaching, my father was a minister, so we are rich.
Yeah.
I remember a parent gave my mother a car as a gift. For
a whole car?
A whole car as a gift, as a Christmas gift.
Virgin boy, give me a boy.
You know what I mean? So you can imagine my thing. No, my parties gone from in public school. I go into parties, couple balloons and thing. I go in. People got parties on yachts and thing now. You know what I mean? And thing now and Rastaman and this. But what I am saying is that relating to what we are saying here, and education and the homeschooling, right? And remember, homeschooling is nothing new to a certain class of people. And
explain what you mean by that.
Upper class people with money, right? With more tend to homeschool the children. Diplomats, people passing through. I know people know, right now, since the thing has been going on, my queen has a friend that, I don't know if it, can't remember if it's a girl or boy they got, but their child is go to school daily. But this woman is paid for a tutor every day to teach. So that child don't go to school, Everything that child is learning is from the tutors.
The child does not go to school?
The child goes to school.
But still,
you know what I mean?
So the tutors come after school?
The tutors come after school on the weekend, whatever the case may be, but she has a tutor that comes in every day to cover every subject.
Right.
Right? So the child really doesn't need to go to school, but they just don't want to go through the process of this homeschooling. Because if you hear the stories of people that have applied to homeschool before, right? Some people get vexed. I know people can't say that have children homeschooling, that they have applied and they hear nothing, so they just keep the child home and.
Wow. But so this is something that really big in Barbados then. I mean, the homeschooling.
It is not big in Barbados, but there are people that do it, and I'm saying that the people that do it are a certain class of people, right? And when a certain class of people try to do it or want to do it, it becomes a problem.
You're saying that upper class people are the people who homeschool. Yeah. When someone who is not upper class tries to homeschool is when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, and especially, right, if it's from a grouping, say like Rastafari, right, who has had that tugging. You know what I mean? A Muslim will more get away with it because the Muslim has a community to back. You know what I mean? So nobody can question a little Muslim child that them see home every day. I think nobody call any child care board, nobody call the Ministry of Education. Right? But if you see a little Rasta child home every day, we call the authorities. You know what I mean?
Call the police and all that.
Speed dial.
So about what about people that can got something to say like, all right, but these children don't know how to interact with other children because the homeschool.
But that was the problem in the first place, is socializing. School, yes, we know school is one of the main places that a lot of children are socialized. But the children know, the average person on the street will tell you that the children know is like terrorists, the vipers. You see school children on the street. So what kind of socializing
for real, a lot,
are they getting? So don't just talk about the socializing. What kind of socializing are they getting in the school environment? Now you remember, you could keep home children. Some children may still be going to church. They can still have their friends in the community. They could still join community groups. They could still join football teams. So there are many other ways. So if we want to talk like socializing, and the only place to socialize is in the school, and right now the school is proven to be the worst place to socialize, for your children to be socialized. So
right, because I say a doctor bring up the partner with the child care board, because you know the child care board shows enforce that, yo, you go outside school, you children
the child care board now is a whole different kettle of fish. Right? Because we sent a letter to the Child Care Board, just as we did to the Ministry of Education, asking for a meeting so we could show them our involvement, hear their concerns, and see how we could mediate the situation. Right? The response from them was that in court, you know what I mean? Meet us in court. We will talk to you in court. Even after the affidavit went in, I said everything, even after the criminal case was lost, right? Even
after the state lost the criminal case, right? The Child Care Board was still pushing. When the magistrate wanted to throw out the case, the Child Care Board lawyer was saying, no, you know what I mean? You got to think. Because at one point the man was saying, like, I don't even feel like I got the jurisdiction to really hear this case. And she was saying, no, yes, you know what I mean? So she was pushing this thing down to the end, right? So it wasn't about what was in the best interest of the children. So the fact that she had a lot to say now after the fact, it was cause that look bad, you know. Because one of the things with this case, right, when the Child Care Board got involved, because remember the Child Care Board in the eyes of the public already under scrutiny. They've had some bad press recently.
Yeah, a lot of bad press. The little youngster that got killed in St. Lucia hung himself. The other one, there was a couple of cases that you could call.
A lot of cases, you know what I mean? So have them, so this was actually, it looked like if they wanted to
this is going to get him the gold medal, yeah. This can get him the gold medal, yeah.
So having lost this in such a way, you know, as the case discontinued, no judgment in hand or nothing, you know.
In other words, you almost like you was wasting the court time?
You were wasting the court time.
Yeah,
in both cases,
yeah.
it was wasting the court time.
So I mean, you got at some point they got to realize that yo, look, we lost. Like yo, these people got a legitimate reason.
They couldn't afford the loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
what sealed it for them, right? What cut off the head was when the ministry actually gave us the written permission, and the ministry. Remember, we applied for this thing, you know, and we seeing months going along, right? And we can't get nothing, and we called back the ministry, and the woman said that the file was misplaced. So how you can misplace a file of a case like this that is so in the
media and the public and all this on social media and all that?
She found it 2 days later, though, and we had the letter. Yeah, so I mean, she did, you know. So I just say, you know, and you know, I went along and he said, well, yes, you know, when I said, well, I can understand how these things happen, you know. So you see all your files and things, you know, because you know, I got to learn to be a little more.
You got to get them a little breathe.
I got to smooth off some of my rough edges, you know. Okay. You know, yeah. So I try to. That's what we're working on now, kind of smoothing off my rough edges and building
relationships and bridges.
Relationships, you know what I mean? So I got to be more, they call it being politically correct, you know, kind of thing like that. But just, you know.
But still, you know, you got to keep them edges just there wrong.
You know, you still got to be, you can't be totally dumbed down, you're not dumbing down, but you're realizing, well, like almost like Malcolm X, like when they asked if white people could come and help in the, you know, in the struggle. You know, at one time X was saying, no, white people got in, so I think, you know. And then you have to come off of that after time to realize, well, you know, so
some people can,
you know, and as you say, you know, Rastas have enjoyed a horrible relationship with most of these agencies, from Child Care Board to Ministry of Education, but that doesn't mean that it has to be like that going forward, and all that is part of the healing process.
Build a bridge.
That's I mean, we have to build bridges. I remember, if you're licking down a bridge, you better have a bridge there before you lick down the old bridge, you know.
Real thing.
What I mean? So
talk a little bit, as we close off, talk a little bit about BASE, the academy that the Afrikan Heritage Foundation is looking to build, and what this is really going to be about. What would be different at BASE?
BASE, we're looking at we have looked at different educational systems from across the world. The top educational systems, Finland, Japan, Korea, I think those are the nations. And what we have taken from them, and which you already know from ourselves, that education should be fun, and that it should be based on the development of the people that it is supposed to serve, right? Which means it has to come from the people, you know. And we have many systems in education. We have many things in our educational system that cause it to fail. First thing is that we have the teachers are undervalued, right? We have a lot of people that go into UE and getting a lot of degrees and a lot of letters behind the name.
BA, AGP, IRP, tour. All that. I go on the thing
but they can't get a job to match the thing. You know what I mean? So you know what they say? They can go and teach. So we have a lot of people teaching in the system, but we don't have a lot of teachers. It's a different thing. So you have a lot of people frustrated, they don't really want to be there, right? So that's one thing that BA's looking at. People that want to teach, you know what I mean? That see that there is a need to evolve education, so to speak.
Education is paramount.
Right, yeah,
right,
you know.
Right.
The system, we held a workshop called the Evolution of Education in December, and one of the things that came out of that was the realization that teachers feel very restricted in their ability to create and, you know,
be creative in the classroom.
And be creative in the classroom. BASE will offer teachers that creativity, that space to be creative. We come out of a system that, I don't know about y'all, but I get my ass burst at school. Yeah, I get real.
Hey, Mr. Jordan.
Right?
How the bamboos?
You know, but that has instilled in us a sort of response. Yeah. You know, if somebody do me wrong thing, you know what I mean, beat them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Beat
I
them
think
up,
that's what make you feel like got
But
that.
then we have researched
voice.
other systems. We see a school in the States, and this is a black school, I can't remember the name, where their punishment or how they deal with that situation is in a meditation room and with yoga, you know, and they have gone, their discipline, their need to discipline has gone down drastically, you know. So we're looking at these sort of things, you know. Of course, what we teach and what we put over, because we want especially our history, you know. If we don't get our history right, the next generation, even this generation, you know, we're not going to have any pride in ourselves. If we keep starting our history with the slave trade, you know what I mean, generations to come, they're not going to have any pride in what is African, which means they're not going to have any pride in self, right? So we need to address that and telling of that story. You know, the white man happy story too, you know, is what we're learning all the time.
It's true.
You know, but we also need to learn our story. You know what I mean? Every side has different perspective. You know, so I ain't saying I can't learn about your perspective, but I have to learn about my perspective. How come I can learn about everybody else's perspective? Look at now. We learn in school. In the past, we could have learned Latin, we could learn Spanish, we could learn French.
Yeah, it's true.
And now we could learn Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese, because they say that Chinese should be taught in schools or something
but
like that.
There is no
English
school
is
that's going
language.
to teach an African language, you know what I mean? And the reality of it, if we really zoom into a global perspective, the Chinese migrate into Africa in droves.
I want you.
You know what I mean? And this is poor Chinese looking for things, you know. Africa has become, the continent itself has become one of the biggest marketplaces. You know what I mean?
I
So
want
we
you to
look at
address
the
this
Chinese-
question. I want to address this question because this is a question that I get a lot. A lot of people don't understand or don't see the practicality of this focus on history and identity and African. They can understand learning Chinese because you may want to trade and make money. There's an economic value to learning Chinese. But a lot of people don't understand the practical value of history and culture. Could you end off with that from me?
All right, the practical value of history and culture, the practical value of learning of self. I see that every race is beautiful in itself and was created or has been formed with particular and special attributes, right? Say in the area of health, You know, we know of Dr. Sebi.
Yeah.
One of the things that Dr. Sebi said and has put forward and has proven in a way that Africans have special food, right? And when we were brought, we weren't brought with our food, right? If we know more about ourselves, maybe we can be healthier through what we consume, our diet, right? If we know about ourselves, Africans, within their spirituality and how they understand energy, right? And that's another show, energy and spirit. It's different. Their salvation has always come from a sense of self inside, right? Their sense of community, our core values that hold us together. We are the people that had societies that had no name for things like jails, right? We need to get back to those concepts, things that are innately ours, you know. Even our family structures, polygamy versus monogamy. You know, these are things we have to look and see what the things that are innate to us, what we do naturally. The other day, you know, when you were small, we used to do so, and tell a thing.
Yeah.
I was watching something on Facebook the other day with the girl that starred in The Queen of Kwatwe. What's her name?
That's the chess movie?
Yeah, the chess movie. The girl, the big model girl. What's she,
Is
you know
Lupita?
Lupita. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was explaining the African finger snap and how this is used to punctuate, you know what I mean, anything. And I tell myself, yeah, I grew up doing this thing, you know what I mean, but I never associate with this thing. So our culture helps us to understand ourselves a little more. And more than
Rastas
that.
used to do that too, like.
Yes, but everybody
Rastas
used to do that.
Yeah, Rastas used to do that. Yeah,
Everybody
Rastas used to do that. Yeah,
The
for
same
real.
way everybody used to walk up and thing, and we now saying, well, ooh, this is innately something that is part of us, you know. Sometimes if you have something and you don't know the uses of it or where you come from or where it comes from, you use it wrong. If I don't know what a hammer is for, I don't know where a hammer comes from, I don't know what it's supposed to do, I say, well, this heavy boy, I can knock out people with this boy. You know what I mean?
It's true.
I mean, I study hammering nails, because I know what it's for. You know
You
what
put
I
on
mean?
your bag and walk
I
over
put on,
the
you know what I
mountain.
mean? Anybody think, boy, look it now, you know what I mean? I got a hammer.
Right.
Right? I know. So culturally, on your heritage in the same way, I say it helps you streamline your future. You know, it helps you, it gives you direction. You know, it strengthens you. It gives you a sense of pride. You know, it tells you who you. Every culture, you know what I mean, is based and that's in my daughter's same school. All these little white children can tell you the Greek heritage, how they come from this place, the Italian background.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Far
Jews,
down the Greek, you know what I mean?
all them, yeah.
Every the Chinese even worse. They talk about the dynasties from every sense. And these are all people that really rule over us. We are last in the race food chain. Last. You know what I mean? Because we depend on everybody else. We have become the ultimate slaves, the ultimate consumers, going back to the economics. And if we don't understand that, if we don't understand ourselves, we will forever be slaves. We ain't gonna produce a microphone. We ain't gonna produce nothing in here. How much are the things in here? The cameras, the Canon, how many things that black people produce, brother? You know what I mean? The ultimate slaves. And if we don't change that, and education is responsible for that.
Or a lack of.
Or a lack of, rather. You are so right. The lack
Simba,
of.
you know, we've never got enough time to say enough.
Yes, that time already?
Yeah.
Oh, before I could say one thing before we
Yeah,
go.
of course,
course,
man.
man.
We in life.
In all that, right? I want to make note that the foundation, we have fundraising activities.
Yeah.
We have the GoFundMe campaign,
Right.
African Heritage Foundation.
Just go to GoFundMe.
And for people, and that is really for people overseas. Because I know that's a credit card thing.
Yeah,
and,
credit
you know what I
card
mean?
thing, right.
But for people in Barbados that may be seeing this and
Man,
would
some
like
of them boy got credit
to
cards too.
yeah, that too.
Yeah, some of them boy
But we
got
have a
credit
bank
cards.
account that has been set up at Scotia Bank.
Yeah.
Right, for those that would like to donate to the foundation and what we're doing, they could go there. The same African Heritage Foundation.
Right.
I didn't really number the account, but you know you could go there and.
All right, what gonna happen is.
How do they get in contact with the African Heritage
Right.
Foundation?
You can email us at ahfoundation@yahoo.com or info@africanheritage.com. African is spelled with a K. The
You'll
phone
see that at
number
the bottom of the screen.
231-3185. that is a cell phone I can
Give
get
him-
in
give him-
contact.
give him the
231-3185
Right.
or 624-0484. And you can visit our website. We have hundreds of articles on the website. The website is africanheritage.com. Again, the African is spelled with a K. Right? So I really want to know that fundraising is on the table right now. We're going to have a number of, we're building donation boxes. And we want to have them on a number of outlets. I'm not free to say the outlets yet because we haven't asked the outlets yet. So I don't want to say it can be at Jen's when we haven't asked Jen's yet. Right?
But Jen's, you might get asked.
Right, but Jen's, you might get
asked.
asked. Right? So these sort of things. So I want the viewers to look out for that. You can find us on Facebook, African Heritage Foundation. We have pages. We have a group there that you can keep following what we've been doing and the activities of the foundation. So I really want to plug that part.
Right. Well done.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And you see these T-shirts? They're called the Hekima Wear T-shirts.
Yeah.
This is part of our fundraising activities. Hekima is a Swahili word, means wisdom.
Right.
So it is really translated into wisdom wear. You know, the shirts have Adinkra symbols on them with messages, but the messages come from people of all different cultures. And this is another reason why understanding your culture and understanding the importance of culture also helps us to appreciate other people's cultures. Right? So like me, I love the Chinese culture. Right? I understand what the Chinese have done, you know, and I understand that history. But I find their culture fascinating, the dynasties and you know, how they defended it. You know,
Great Wall of China.
Exactly, and all these things. So,
I always wonder, like, yo,
right,
that is crazy.
So I know the more that I love my culture, the more that I know about me, you know, the more that I understand what culture means to another person, right? And I can more respect that, you know, because if I don't respect mine, I definitely can respect yours.
Real thing,
You know what I mean?
real
We
thing.
can't get no peace in the world and we can't get forward if everybody just butting heads and want to be the ultimate goats.
Right.
Respect to you and the African Heritage Foundation, Simba, for stepping up and taking action. Because sometimes people talk and do nothing. You all chose to do something and really affect a real life situation and intervene.
What we could do is try. You know, I mean, if we don't try, we can't get it done. You never know. You know,
For real.
You know, we have to become. It's Marcy said that, you know, that we have to become more than we've ever been prepared to be. Something like that. You know what I mean? So for me, like, I set my goals above anything that I tell myself. You know, people they say, but you can't get this do. And in my mind, I tell myself, you can't get this do. You know what I mean? But I can try to do it. And whatever I get done, if I want to move from 1 to 10 and I tell myself, I can't get a 10, I might get an 8. And into 8, if I didn't think so, I might only get a 5. And the next time,
get the 1.
I might only get a 1.
You might even get a 9, much
You know
less.
what I mean?
Real
So
thing.
I try to be more than I ever hope to be, you know what I mean? And think, you know, so. And I think that if we all think that, you know, and if we all understand too, another thing that we want to plug is the importance of NGOs. You know, NGOs,
non-governmental organizations.
Non-governmental organizations, like the foundation is a charity. They are the backbone of any society, you know, and we need to support NGOs. Not only the African Heritage Foundation.
But
You
look
know, I
around.
am thinking that every black person should be part of some community development organization. You know, we have 300,000 people in the island. You know what I mean? Say we got 50,000 working adults. You can imagine if 50,000 working adults was to take $20 out of their salary and say I'm going to give $1 to 20 different organizations. Effectively, you would have 20 NGOs getting $50,000 a month. But we don't have that culture. So NGOs have to depend on foreign aid and writing, and that's a whole grants and foreign, and that's a whole
Other issue.
thing. And, you know what I mean? That's a whole other issue.
Farah, you got any more questions to ask?
No, I think we covered most
We cover a
bases.
lot.
We cover a lot.
ground,
You know what I mean?
We got
Real
a
thing.
lot of base.
A lot of base. A whole base.
A
A
whole
whole base. Real
The
thing.
whole foundation.
Take us on, man.
Yeah, man, but I want to say job blessings and guidance to you at the African
Thanks,
Heritage
brother.
Foundation. People, like I say, check all the links. I think I can try to get the links to the African Heritage Foundation on my on Facebook and all that stuff. We will post them in the description. when they post this video. So people wanna don't know. Once again, it's been great here. You don't know me and Adrian can do this every week. You see how we doing it? I hear somebody tell me, nothing that they like how the show going. Ain't just one format. It here today, there. We all over the place. Like Punka. See you in the next week. We out and bad done talk. Boom.
Boom.